Hello students, today we're going to be proving lines are parallel. On the last video we showed that angles were congruent because lines were parallel, so now we're going to be doing the opposite. Please take notes as you go and don't forget to take the survey that follows the video. So far we've been looking at angle pair relationships, and this is all based upon the fact that we had ourselves two lines that were parallel and we cut them by a transversal. Today we're actually going to look at the converses. Remember, converse means we're flipping it around. So this means we're trying to show two lines are parallel based upon specific information given about our angles. So here are our converses. The first one is the corresponding angle's converse. So the original one said that if two lines that are parallel were cut by a transversal, then the corresponding angles were congruent. This now is the converse of that. So it states if two lines are cut by a transversal, so the corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So we have to show that the corresponding angles are congruent, and then you can show that the lines are parallel. Continuing on, the alternate interior angles converse has the exact same idea. However, now we're discussing the alternate interior angles being congruent. So this one states, if two lines are cut by a transversal, so the alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So you notice how both of these two things are indicating that the lines are parallel. The next one we have is the same side interior angles. So this one was different since they have to add up to 180. They have to be supplementary. So we're going to show that in our converse here. Two lines are cut by a transversal, so the same side interior angles are supplementary. Then the lines are parallel. And then finally our alternate exterior angles converse. So this one states if two lines are cut by a transversal, the alternate exterior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So all of these converses are proving lines are parallel. So it's not going to be told to you in the actual diagram or the directions themselves. We're going to be showing that they're parallel. So let's do an example on how they're used. So it's going to be very, very similar to the ones that we were working on in class. We're going to find the value of x that makes m parallel to n. So m and n are these two lines here, and they're cut by a transversal. As it's shown, we are not sure if these two lines are parallel. So what we're going to do is find values such that it makes them parallel. So what we know is that these are in corresponding positions. So they're on the top right-hand corner of each of these things here. So that means these two values are going to be equal to each other. So we're trying to find the value of x that's going to make that top angle 65. And then from here it's just algebra. We're going to subtract 5 from both sides and then divide by 3. So the value of x is equal to 20. Since now if we were to put that back in, we would get 65. We know that it's also these two angles here are going to be congruent, meaning by the corresponding angles converse, these guys are going to be parallel to each other. The next type of question we can have is determine if we have enough information to conclude that things were parallel. So what we want to take a look at are these two lines and the information that's given. Whenever you're given stuff, you want to try to figure out as much as we possibly can. So what we can find out here is yes, because you can find the angles that are supplementary with those angles there. So we're looking at our linear pairs. Remember, linear pairs, they form the T, so these two next to each other or these two next to each other. We can also do the same thing with this bottom angle or this angle right next to each other here. So you want to do the ones that's going to make the most sense. So if we know this totals up to 180, 180 minus 105 finds this angle here being 75 degrees. So now we're going to take a look at these two here, and we can see that they are going to be the same. So corresponding angles converse allows us to show that these lines here are actually parallel to each other. Please make sure you're understanding the difference between the corresponding angles converse and just the corresponding angles postulate. The converse is showing that lines are parallel, so we don't know that the lines are parallel. However, the original postulate is actually proving that angles are congruent. So we are showing you that these lines are already parallel, therefore these angles are congruent or supplementary if we're talking about same side interior, while the converse is doing just the opposite. So make sure you're keeping track of which one is which. If you have any questions, either enter them in the survey or bring them to class tomorrow. Make sure you complete the survey that follows the video. I'll see you tomorrow.